Seahorse, the Shyest Fish in the Sea by Chris Butterworth, illustrated by John Lawrence. Spotted seahorse, dwarf seahorse, short-snouted seahorse, lemur-tail seahorse, short-headed seahorse, barber's seahorse. For Margaret, CB. For Dominic, JL. Seahorse, the Shyest Fish in the Sea by Chris Butterworth, illustrated by John Lawrence. In the warm ocean, among the waving seagrass meadows, an eye like a small black bead is watching the fish dart by. Who does it belong to? Seahorse, one of the shyest fish in the sea. Seahorse has a head like a horse, a tail like a monkey, and a pouch like a kangaroo. This one is a barber seahorse. He has tiny prickles down his back like a dragon. He may not look much like a fish, but that's what he is. For a long time, no one was sure what kind of animal the seahorse was. Its scientific name was hippocampus, which means horse-like sea monster. Seahorse swims upright. He moves himself through the water with the little fins on his head and the larger one on his back. He can only swim slowly, so if a hungry snapper cruises by looking for a snack, Seahorse does something very clever. He holds still and changes color. Now you see him, until he's almost invisible. Now you don't. This way, seahorses change the color of their skin to blend in with their surroundings, called camouflage. Seahorses have hard, bony ridges all down their bodies. Not many other creatures eat seahorses, probably because they're just too difficult to swallow. Every day at sunrise, Seahorse swims slowly off to meet his mate. They twist their tails together and twirl gently around, changing colors until they match. Seahorses are faithful to one mate and often pair up for life. Today, Seahorse's mate is full of ripe eggs. The two of them dance till sunset, and then she puts her eggs into his pouch. Barber seahorses mate every few weeks during the breeding season. Only the male seahorse has a pouch. Only the female seahorse can grow eggs. Seahorses are the only male fish to get pregnant like this, growing their young inside their own bodies. Seahorses sway about to get the eggs settled in, then seals his pouch shut tight. Safe inside, the dots in the eggs begin to grow into baby seahorses. They break out of their eggs and keep on growing, everyone with a head like a tiny horse and a tail like a tiny monkey. A few weeks later, Seahorse finds a quiet place to hide among the corals. It's time for the babies to be born. He works hard all day and through the night, bending, squeezing, and pushing, shooting hundreds of babies out of his pouch. Barber seahorses can have 200 to 300 babies at one time. They swirl around him in the water like smoke. One or two of the babies hang on to Dad's nose. For a while, it's the first and biggest thing they've seen. But when they let go, they're so tiny and light that the current soon floats them away. Each tiny new seahorse is a perfect copy of its parents and is ready for life on its own as soon as it's born. This new seahorse is only as long as your eyelash, but she can find her own food right away. Her eyes move separately from each other. One can peer up while the other looks down, so she can spot food coming from any direction. Seahorses live on plankton, tiny creatures that float along with the current. With one quick slurp, she sucks her catch into the end of her snout and swallows it whole. Seahorses don't have teeth. To drop lower in the water, seahorses tuck in their necks and roll up their tails. To rise higher, they uncurl themselves till they are almost as straight as pencils. When she is big enough, Seahorse curls up her tail and sinks to the seabed. She is safer here. Her camouflage protects her, and if a storm scoops the sea into huge waves or passing boats send currents sweeping by, there are plenty of things to hang on to. Seahorses cannot live where the currents are very strong. They would be swept away. Seahorses have prehensile tails, which means they can grasp things tightly with them. When she is bigger, Seahorse picks one patch of reef as her home. She wraps her tail around a coral branch. This is her holdfast. Wherever she goes, she'll keep coming back to this holdfast. Male Barber's seahorses range over only a few square yards. The female's range is twice as big or even bigger. In a few months, this little seahorse will be ready to mate. She'll spend the rest of her life on the reef, watching for food, meeting her mate, and trying to stay almost invisible. Barber seahorses can mate by the age of 6 months and are fully grown at about a year. Who's that peering from the coral? Shh, she's a seahorse. Pacific seahorse, thorny seahorse, pygmy seahorse, zebra seahorse, long-snouted seahorse, great seahorse.